Talking to Nige from Onslaught. Nige, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Mal. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. How's life over there? How are you finding it?
A little strange, mate, to be honest. It's still not so good here. I believe you guys are having a bit of a second wave in places as well. So, yeah, all very strange. But I'm getting used to it, I guess. But, yeah, we got to live with it for now.
We do. Now, because I've never spoken to you before, I just want to ask you a question about the reunion, if I can. Now, when was the decision made to get back together when you did, and how has it been since then?
Oh, wow, that was way back 15 years ago now, 2005, we got back together. Really, I mean, we'd had a long layoff, 14 years, I guess, and it wasn't until that we found out about our first two albums being re-released, actually, in 2002. We kind of found out about that in 2004, a couple of years later. So obviously we looked into who released it and what it had been doing, obviously, because we were owed royalties from that, of course. So we got in touch with the label, and we were amazed at the amount of records it had actually sold. It was incredible. So it kind of showed us that there was a big interest in Onslaught once again. So did some research on the net, and wow, it was lots of people talking about the band, and it just seemed like the right time. If we were ever going to do it, that would have been the right time to get back together. So we kind of looked at the pros and cons, and yeah, we got back together 2005, and it's been an incredible journey ever since. Really amazing. We've played in almost 70 different countries around the world now. This is our fourth album release, 2 live albums. So, yeah, we've been busy, and it's been fantastic, I must say.
It's a totally different world now, though, isn't it, with regard to music, albums and concert tours, that sort of thing. How have you found how the industry has changed with regard to touring live and recording compared to what it was back in the day, and how has the band adjusted to that?
I mean, lots of things have stayed the same, but obviously with the situation with the illegal downloading, what happened several years and stuff, that's had the biggest impact on things now. Whereas we used to make really good money from record sales, you don't do that anymore. So it's kind of a role reversal there. Whereas back in the 80s, for example, you'd make all your living from record sales, and touring, you'd very rarely make money from touring. Now it's flip side. You make all your money from touring and no money from record sales. So it's kind of weird in that aspect, and a little annoying, to say the least, because we do seriously get ripped off with the streaming side of things, which I know is an ongoing thing for the labels and stuff. But obviously communication's another thing as well. This made things a lot easier for tour. And as I said, we've played in almost 70 different countries this time around. Whereas before it was just mainly Europe and the UK back in the 80s. Obviously communication, I mean, everybody used to use kind of snail mail, ordinary sort of air mail back in the day. And you'd send a letter off to somebody and you might get a reply like 6 weeks later. It'd take that long to go to Brazil and back. And now you're obviously, as we're in touch now, it's just immediate, cost less and immediate. So it's so easy to arrange tours and all the things that I communicate with fans. So that's obviously the plus side of things. Communication's so much easier, and it just allows us to do a lot more than what we used to do back then.
How about recording? Are you recording as a band, or, I've spoken to some bands that are living on different continents and they're exchanging files over the web and recording that way. How is Onslaught doing it?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, I think it's kind of standard procedure now to actually physically go into a studio and record as old school style, it's an absolute fortune. I mean, if you look, for example, when we recorded In Search of Sanity, for example, I think the album cost us like over £100,000 to make in 1988, which is criminal. financially. Like, yeah, I know. Whereas you can go and make an album now. I mean, we're very fast in the studio, so we'd go and make an album for 10 to 12K at maximum, you know. So we could go and make 10 albums for what we did back in the 80s, you know. So we record separately, so everybody's in a different studio, different time, and then everything goes to mix, and I'm quite like it. I mean, it does work well.
Generation Antichrist about to come out. How long did you take to record that? Did you have it wrapped up before all this COVID stuff happened?
Yeah, we started right sort of October 2018. I guess it took about 9 to 10 months to write the whole album, and we started recording, I think, January this year. So yeah, 2 weeks, all the recordings were wrapped up. The only problem we faced this time around with the mixing, because as we were due to start mixing, the lockdowns kicked in the UK, and basically the mix was being done in Sweden, back in the UK. So everything done in the mix was done via email, and yeah, it was. I mean, the mixes were done by email and text message. Obviously, Daniel, the mix engineer, was in Sweden, and I'm in the UK, so really long job, you know. But we got the results in the end. That's the main thing.
And, okay, so just about to come out, what's the release plan these days? I mean, we touched on streaming. How much physical product actually goes out? And is there vinyl? Every band seems to be bringing back the vinyl.
Oh, yeah, vinyl's huge at them. A real big comeback. Fantastic. And we've known a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, obviously, it's great for us to get the physical product out as opposed to the digital stuff. I love the vinyl myself. The more that we can shift, the better for the band. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of digital stuff. And as I said before, with the streaming and things like that, we really get ripped off. I mean, we're looking at, like, every statement comes through is probably 500,000 to 1 million streams, and we're basically getting a couple of $100 on that, you know, or a couple of £100, which is really not fair on the musicians. It's a real bad situation still in that respect. So yeah, I'd rather keep it to physical CDs and vinyls if possible.
That sort of has a snowballing effect too, because like someone like myself over here on the other side of the world, it makes it more costly for places to get the physical product, which in the end drives you more towards streaming as a consumer.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to pick up as many independent releases around the world as possible. You know, I've arranged myself. I've arranged 3 different license deals in South America, so that people don't have to physically send to Europe for it. You know, and then obviously there's a risk of getting it lost in the mail. So I've been trying to set up as many different places to pick up the physical copies as we can. I'm still not sure what's going on with Australia and New Zealand about that, but I'm told there's going to be somewhere that you are going to be able to get the hard copies, you know, which would be great if that happens.
Right. Any stories about any particular track on the album that you want to share with us?
The obvious one that's closest to our hearts, basically, is a Perfect Day to Die, because it's our tribute to Motorhead, and who were our friends and mentors for at the early days of our career, you know. So having lost those guys is very sad. So that's a very important track for us on the album, you know. It's the least we could do for those after what they did for us in our early days. So yeah, I mean, that's the one of the key tracks for us on the record, really.
Tell me about Addicted to the Smell of Death.
Very funny story to this one. Basically, I'm quite near there now, actually. Where the place not too far from where I live, there's a crematorium. And whenever they are burning the bodies at the crematorium after the services, you know, obviously they can't release the kind of smell of burning flesh out into the open air, because it's a quite built up area where people live. So they have to release this kind of perfumey medical kind of smell into the atmosphere to mask the smell of the burning bodies, I guess. But it's kind of weird because it smells really nice. It sounds a bit weird, but it really does smell quite nice. So keep driving past this every day, and that's kind of cool smell. So I kind of got the title with a bit of sarcasm. I was being addicted to the smell of death, really. But the actual song's about an American serial killer from back in the day, back in the 1800s, I think. A guy called H. Holmes, and he was alleged to have killed up to 200 victims. So yeah, slice them and dice them and then burn them after. So it kind of tagged in with my little smell I was getting to breathe in every day. So I kind of put the two together.
What's the funniest music-related story? Now, whether it's the funniest thing that's happened on tour or in the recording studios, you got any stories for me?
I've got so many Motorhead stories, but this one was classic. We were on tour with Motorhead in 1987. I think we played a show in Copenhagen in Denmark, and we were all in the bar at 4 a.m. There was, I think, a few of our guys, and there was Filthy Phil Campbell, and Wurzel from Motorhead. We were all down. We were all pretty drunk, and the lift comes down into the bar area, lobby area, and out walks Lemmy in a pair of paisley pajamas and a dressing gown, and everybody we just fell about laughing. It was just the funniest thing ever just to see Lemmy like that, and he went fucking crazy. He didn't like it, so he said, "Fuck off, you bastards!" Got back in the lift. We went back to bed. But it was so funny. You had to be there. It was just incredible. In these pajamas and slippers and stuff, it was hilarious.
Nigel from Onslaught, thanks so much for taking my call. Best of luck with the new album, Generation Antichrist, and best of luck with the release of that. And thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Mug. Great chatting to you, mate. Take care and be safe.